I started my media production by researching short films and teaser trailers. This was to help me get an idea of what I'd want to do for my production. I used YouTube to look at different examples to see what I thought I'd prefer to do. I looked at such examples as Love Field and Toy Story. After considering both options, I decided to do a teaser trailer, as I thought this would give me more opportunity to use my editing skills, as teaser trailers tend to be fast-paced and action-packed. One of the main things that I noticed when researching teaser trailers was that it was conventional for them not to give too much information about the storyline of the film away. I also decided that it was important to follow this convention. I took this into consideration when storyboarding my teaser trailer. I then looked at the pros and cons of different genres and did a survey with people aged between 14 and 30 to find out what genre they preferred. I decided to ask people aged between 14 and 30, as this would be within my selected target audience. The results of my survey was that horror was the most popular genre, very closely followed by social realism. After considering the results, I decided that it would be best for me to go for the social realism genre, as I had done horror for my opening sequence during my AS coursework, and felt that I'd exhausted all my ideas for the horror genre, and that by doing social realism I'd be able to use new ideas. I was also influenced by studying criminology and gang culture during my sociology lessons. The use of sex, drugs and violence was also conventional to other social realism films that I looked at during my research. Other conventions that I noticed was that the type of music in social realism films I'd researched was urban, rap and hip-hop music. I decided to follow this convention by also using rap music. I used an unsigned artist called McLean that I'd originally found on YouTube. I also kept to the convention of social realism when it came to editing my film, as I kept the editing fast-paced with lots of different shots. Another convention that I stuck to in my teaser trailer was the clothing of the character. In the films that I'd researched, most of the characters in the gang would wear tracksuits, trainers and hoodies. I continued this convention in my own production. The inspiration for my social realism film came from such films as Harry Brown, Adulthood and Shank, although I wanted to break from the usual conventions by using some form of animation within my teaser trailer, as I'd never seen this done before within social realism films. Although I found this difficult, as it was a much shorter space of time to be able to fit it in. The inspiration for my stop motion in my film came from such stop motion videos as Deadline. I was also able to have a go at making my own stop motion called Snake during the end of last year. I found the convention of stop motion for animation was to have between 15 and 30 frames per second, but again I went against this convention as I made my stop motion much slower. This was to give me a shaker feel to my animation. I began the ancillary task by researching other film posters and magazine covers to get an understanding of the conventions of these media products. I began my research on film posters and magazine covers from the same genre as mine. I did this by using search engines such as Google and Bing. I found it quite hard to find a variety of magazine covers that focused on social realism films, as many of the magazines I found focused mostly on high-budget Hollywood films, although I found websites such as Sight and Sound which had useful conventions of social realism front covers. I also looked at other websites such as Empire, although I found that the magazine covers did not really fit into the convention of my film genre. The covers from Empire often focused on action-packed Hollywood high-budget films. When looking at film posters and magazine covers, I made a list of the different aspects that I needed to include in them to fit the forms and conventions usually seen in the social realism genre. These were things such as the name of the director, the name of the lead actors, the billing card, which includes things such as the name of the production company, the barcode, the date, the issue number of the magazine. I also included star ratings and quotes from the film critics, as this was a convention in which I saw in many social realism film posters that I looked at. I feel that I met all the conventions that I saw while researching my ancillary tasks.